everyone. Today we are going to continue learning about how to measure things. So far we've learned how to measure things using their height or length, and we've also learned how to measure things based on how much they weigh. Today we're going to learn about how to measure volume. Volume is the amount of space something can take up inside of a container. So for example, the volume of this glass is how much I can fill this container, all right? So when we talk about volume, we're going to talk about words like what can hold more, what holds less, and what holds the same. So let's practice using those words a little bit first. I'm going to put some water in all of these glass jars, all right? This blue thing I'm holding is called a funnel, and it helps make sure Miss Hagedorn doesn't make a big mess when she's spilling or pouring. All right, let's look at this. Actually, let's do one more. All right. When I look at these four glass jars, what do you notice? Which container has the most water in it? Which do you think? This one, doesn't it? It's almost all the way filled with water. Which container has the least amount of water? That's kind of tricky. These two look like they're pretty close. Let's put them right next to each other. It looks like this one has just a little bit less water than this one over here. And this one is about in the middle. So this jar has the least amount of water. This jar has the most amount of water. Now, what do you think is going to happen if I pour the water from this jar into this jar? Let's find out. Now I didn't pour all of the water, but what can I say about these two jars of water now? What do you notice about them? Do you notice that they both have the exact same amount of water inside of them? I do. Pretty cool, huh? So that is how we use those words, which holds more, which holds less, and the same. So this has the least amount of water right now. It only has a tiny bit of water left in it. These two jars are filled the same amount of water. They're about halfway full. This jar is almost all the way full, and it has the most water in it. Okay, so I'm going to put these jars aside for a minute. Now, when you measure volume, everybody, you don't just have to measure with water or a liquid. You can measure with things like beans. You can measure with marbles. You can measure with seeds. Today, I'm going to be measuring with marbles. And our job, everyone, is we want to figure out which of these jars do you think is going to hold the biggest number of marbles, the most number of marbles? Which jar do you think is going to hold the smallest number of marbles? And do you think any of these jars are going to hold the same amount of marbles? Let's find out. So, I guess we can start with this guy here. So, when I'm putting my marbles in my jar, I need to make sure I'm counting them carefully. That way I know how many marbles are all the way in my container. So let's start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 30, 46, 47, 48, 9, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, we're almost full, 83, 84, 85, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, and 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 12, 13, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, 121, 122, 123, 124, 125, 126. Does that look about full to you? Looks pretty full to me. So this plastic container here held 126 marbles. I'm going to write that down so I don't forget that number. 126 were in this first container. What container do you think we should do next? Let's do this glass container. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can get all 126 of these marbles into this container. That way we don't have to start over with the counting. So I'm just gonna, kind of noisy. Okay, so right now, there we go. Right now, there are 126 marbles in my jar. Is my jar full yet? Not quite. So that means this container holds more than this container. Let's fill it with marbles. So right now we're at 126, 127, 128, 129, 130, 131, 132, 133, 134, 135, 136, 137, 138, 139, 140, 141, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 150, 151, 152, 153, 154, 155, 156, 157, 158, 159, 160, 161, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 168, 169, 170. That is about full. So this glass container held 170 marbles. So I'm going to write that down too. So our plastic container here held 126 marbles. This container here held 170 marbles. Now, let's see about some of these other containers. Let's measure this tall, skinny vase. Do you think it's going to hold more marbles than this glass container? Or less marbles? What do you think? I noticed that it's taller, but I also noticed that it's a little bit skinnier too. So it's kind of hard to tell. Let's find out that. I'm going to start putting marbles in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52. So even though this container is taller than this container, it only holds 52 marbles. So it might be taller, but its volume is less. It holds less marbles than this container. So what about this jar? Now this jar is shorter, but it's still a little bit skinnier than this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour the marbles from my vase into this glass, and we'll see what happens. Ooh, kind of noisy. All right, so right now there are 70 marbles in here. Is it full yet, though? No, I still have a little way to go. So that means that this glass is going to hold more marbles than this vase. So we're at 52. What was I saying? 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87. So this glass holds 87 marbles. So far, which has held the most marbles? This one hasn't. It had 170 marbles. Then which one? This plastic container, that one held 126 marbles. Then we had this glass, which held 87 marbles. And then last so far is this vase, which held 52 marbles. The last container that we're going to fill is this one. Where do you think this one's going to line up? Do you think it's going to hold more than something? Do you think it's going to hold less? Do you think it might hold the same amount as one of these items here? Let's find out. So I'm going to start adding marbles here. Or I'm going to throw them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. Let's see if we can get one more. 49. So this glass only held 49. So that means that it holds the least amount. So let's review really quick, everybody. Were you right? Remember how I asked you to guess which one you thought had the most? This guy here had the most marbles. It holds 170 marbles. So that's its volume, everybody, because it can hold 170 marbles. The volume of this container was 126 marbles. The volume of this glass was 87 marbles. The volume of our vase was 52 marbles. And the volume of this glass was 49 marbles. So, this held the least, and this one held the most. And none of these ones held the same. Pretty cool, huh? So boys and girls, this is something you can definitely do when you're at home. I bet you have containers at home, and if you don't have marbles, maybe you have some beans or rice, or just use water to compare and see what items in your house have a larger volume and which ones have a smaller volume. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope everyone has a great day. Bye.